friends. This is Inner Wisdom, and we have Keisha Lonon with us. And let's hear from her. Hi, Keisha.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Awesome. It's amazing speaking with you and meeting you.
Same here. It's love to be with you. So can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Absolutely. My name is Keisha Lonon. I have a master's in forensic psychology. I work with the forensic team and I help self-empower women through different crime victimization, such as homicide, sexual assault, domestic violence, anxiety, depression, when they're going through different changes and during trauma. And so during that process, I started speaking with the victims and just talking to them to empower them. And I would say certain things that I have experienced or things I've seen. And that's what indulged in me in writing a book. And so the book is really about self-empowerment, confessing affirmations of your life that you can make it. You have to apply and tap into that strong strength within yourself.
So can you tell us about your journey?
Absolutely.
Why you started on this path?
Absolutely. Well, when I was probably like in my teens, 18, 19, I started dating a guy I was so into him, but not into myself. Mm-hmm. And I lost myself. And when I lost myself, once a woman loses themselves, it's hard to find yourself at a young age. And so I actually fell deep in love with him. And it was really abusing to me mentally, if you know what I mean. Like I was putting him before myself. Right. And so during that journey, I started giving myself self-empowerment and affirmations without even knowing it. And it's all written within the book. And so I married that guy. Wow. And so we married and had a family. And then I really needed to tap into myself. And I started doing a lot of volunteer work, and I would see myself in other women. And I would see that they need someone to listen, not just giving them personal hygiene, they need psychological help. These women are depressed, they lost themselves, and they need motivation. And so I went back to school to get my master's, and I've been on that journey working with women from that point on, helping them to find themselves.
Wow, that's incredible. It's everyone's story right now. Like every woman inside feels that depression, that not showing up. Everyone is like, since childhood, we have the people-pleasing attitude within us.
Absolutely. We do. It's a natural mechanism in women. Yeah. We're nurturers. So we always want someone to like us. We always want someone to love us. And then we don't know how to get back on our bus, if you know what I mean. We lose ourselves and get back on our bus. And that's when self-empowerment comes in. I had to literally self-empower myself. Let me give you a prime example. In my book, I wrote a lot of self-empowerment affirmations. I can read one. It says, "My strength comes within. If you believe you can conquer all things through your spirituality and self-love, you will. Find a spiritual group to connect with." My affirmation, I say, I am brave and worthy to be true to me. Mm-hmm. And those are things I had to continuously tell myself, because I literally at one point didn't even think I was beautiful. Mm-hmm. Because we get beaten and go through so many different changes. You get sunk into a depression. And then life doesn't stop. You still have to be that mom. You still have to be that wife. You still have to go to work. You still have to be that sister. You still have to be that mother. You have so many roles. And while you continually doing those roles, you literally lose yourself.
Right. So sometimes women doesn't know that they are depressed, or they are not having that situation, that they are not people pleasing. It's like we are like this. It's natural. Yeah. Everyone is same. We are. So how the women know that they are going through depression or going through anxiety, and they are not showing up for themselves?
When they feel dark, you feel really dark. Like sometimes you don't want to look in the mirror. You don't want to take a picture. When you feel like you're just not enough, like someone would say, "Oh, your hair is so pretty." You're like, "No, not really." You can't even compliment yourself or receive that compliment. When everything you do is not good enough, it's by your measurement because you know deep down you don't feel good enough. So it's like an inside battle. It's like a war within inside you. And then that's the anxiety is really trauma trapped inside you. A lot of people don't realize that. It's that trauma stuck inside you. So your heart race sometimes, you get overwhelmed because you can't do anything with that hurt. That hurt is trapped inside. And many of us want to get rid of that hurt. So that trauma and anxiety turns into that depression. And when you turn into that depression, the depression is, it hurts so much, it's so overwhelming that the normal person could not understand the pain that person is feeling. It's like, I can't do it anymore. That's why some people have suicidal ideation and they attempt to suicide because they just want to get out of that pain. And it's so undescribed. You can't even describe the pain. Like, I did not go that far, but when I work with the women, I can understand where they're going because I felt a little bit before I started empowering myself. It's really not being enough.
Oh, wow. So that makes me question you. Can you give us a little bit insight? Like, if you met a woman came to you and she's looking for help. So what is your process? Like, how do you do the first step? And then how do you help her?
Okay, so really I would assess. And the reason I have to do an assessment, because sometimes we as women, like I told you before, I could not identify who I was. I could not identify that I was depressed. So when I do my assessment, I have to see if that person can even acknowledge that they're low. It's a really low state in your life. Because sometimes what we do is we will pretty much say, it's okay. We paint an image in our head and we live in that image. Now, they're knowing that if their husband is beating them, they'll tell you first, it's not that serious. He didn't hurt me. That's a coping skill. So they have to live in that zone. So if you're stuck there, you'll never know that you're depressed because that's buffers to protect your heart and your mental state. And so once I assess them and I see if they have buffers and then a denial, then I'll have to say, hey, I want to ask you a few questions. And my questions would be like, if your mom was right here, what would you tell her? And because everyone likes to be very intimate with their mom if they have a relationship with their mom, but they want approval of their mom. So if you have to keep thinking, that means that you know the situation is not good. You know you can't tell your mom what's going on. Or I'll say, hey, if your daughter was sitting here watching us, what would you share with her? A lot of times we're like, I don't want her to see this. That means you know something is wrong. But if they say, I'll just tell her that she's beautiful, they're dodging a question. Because I have to kind of understand how their mindset, or if they say, I would not want her to see me like this, that means they know that they're very low and they want help. It's just that we don't know how to ask for help because we're always pleasing and helping everyone else.
Right. So now we know that the woman is struggling with the anxiety and depression, or she's not valuing herself. How you can help now? Because that's the first step, that we know that she has some problem. Now, how we will help her?
Well, I will start with emotional support.
Okay.
And so I will let them vent, because see, what my number one thing is if it's like in a harsh environment, but that's just the top of you got a cup full of water. So the water is just full, but if you put one drop in that cup, it's going to overflow. So the environment is the overflow. It's really what's in the cup that I have to touch. And that's like being beaten when they were young, being molested when they were young, not feeling good enough, getting abandonment, rejection. I need to know what is the etiology and what is the main force of that cup overflowing. And then once we kind of like talk and I listen, I'll say, okay, it's daddy issues in my mind. I won't tell them that. And I'll say, hey, so when was the last time you spoke with daddy? Like, what are the things that we can do to attack that main core? Because everything else is just the overflow.
Right.
Once you fix that main core, then we can self-empower you. Then we can get you the therapeutic help you need. But we have to identify. If it's a monkey, say it's a monkey. If it's a cat, say it's a cat. But we got to figure out what that is. And that's why a lot of them get so deep down and depressed, because the main etiology is suppressed with all the other overflows.
And women love that, right?
They do. And then they love, it gets so amazing. I feel an amazing rapport. Like today, I spoke with one of my clients, and she was brutally raped and it's really sad. It breaks my heart every time I think about it. The guy broke in her home, and he tore her home up, and her kids and stuff was in there. And she kept saying, if it wasn't for you, I don't think I could have made it. I said, no, if it wasn't for someone listening. We don't have people listening to us because we take everybody else's burden on. Mm-hmm. So when you finally get someone to listen, because sometimes you can have a best friend and talk to them, but they're not listening. And once you have that listen, then you're going to start, it's going to come on out. You're going to vomit all that stuff that's coming into you because you was waiting to let it go. We all wait to let it go. We just don't have that right person to let it go because everyone look at us as the pillar.
Right. So it's like empty yourself, but with an empty heart. Like someone with the empathy for you can just only listen to you. That is the second step after getting to know that you are having an issue.
That's right.
Just have a friend or someone who can just listen to you.
And not judge you, but listen to you.
Yeah.
That's right. Because if you get someone to listen, maybe you might be hearing what you're saying now. Because, we put those walls again. Remember, we talked about those walls to protect your heart. And we protect our heart from people judging us. We don't want anyone to think our household is unstable. My husband is not a good husband. My father was a horrible caregiver. We don't want no one to judge us. We want to stay in this perfect image. Mm-hmm. But guess what? If you're not true to yourself, you can't be true to others.
Right.
That comes from the healing.
To yourself, and then you can be truthful to others. Right.
That's right.
That's okay. So what are the 3 challenges you think that the most of women having?
The number one challenge is that they suppress it.
Okay.
Nobody wants to think that pain is so excruciating inside. They don't even want to touch it. If you even mention even going around that, it hurts. So they want to keep it locked up in that box. So it's the hardest thing is just to get in that box, to take those walls down. And I can confess that for myself. I didn't realize I had those walls from the experience I experienced from my ex when I was younger. And my walls was I didn't want to discuss it. Like it never happened. I don't want to talk about it. No, it's okay. We're doing amazing. My kids are doing amazing. But guess what? Those deep down evil things were stuck in my gut. Mm-hmm. And they will come up eventually. Right. So that's one. And then the second one is getting them with around a nice, strong therapeutic circle. You got to have strong people around you that's going to be there to listen and to help you. And the third is seeing if they are ready. It's all about being ready. Because we can find it, we can accept it, but we got to get them ready to talk about it.
Being ready is the main step to break anything.
Yeah, they got to be ready. That's just like an addiction. Anything. You have to be ready. You have to admit, like, I am hurt. I am depressed.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, what are the daily habits a woman should follow when she's dealing with the anxiety or depression?
Coping skills. She got to figure out her own coping skills. I tell everybody has their own, and I have some coping skills and stuff as well in my book. And some people count to 25 backwards. Mm-hmm. Some people that say every time a negative thought comes to their mind, they put a positive thought. You got to figure out how to live in this world because guess what? That situation happened and it is part of your life. You got to learn how to live with it and how to live with it without it taking over you. So you got to find your own coping skills. Some women have a rubber band and they pop it on it. You notice that, or they touch their hands. You got to find a coping skill to give you peace. Mm-hmm. Some people just want to just regurgitate everything and then they okay. Some people just need music. Some people draw. You got to find a way to get that out of you. You got to find your own coping skills.
So just a view like what should be the daily routine kind of like in the morning or in the evening? Because who is in depression mode doesn't know that she is going through that depression hole right now.
Absolutely.
If we have some rituals that can take care of it before starting, that will be great.
Well, once again, it's the etiology. You got to figure out when it's happening. Because see, sometimes they don't even realize that they're going into that low. Because you got your highs and your lows. So sometimes they don't realize they're going into that low. But everyone else can see it, but they don't realize it. Because some people try to hide it. Right. So when you're feeling really low, when you're feeling that pain and you're feeling that hurt, you got to find, once again, that coping skill to bring you back up. So you have to do that. And then, listen, that is like, it's not an all day thing. So it's sporadically. You might get it here, boom, boom. 3 days go by, you might don't get it, then boom, boom. It's not like something that says raw, but that's why they give people medication to help them cope with it, you know? So they gotta figure out when they low, and you know when you're low, you know when you're going through those changes, you know when you have certain things going on. Sorry about that. I'm trying to cut this light back on. You know when you have those different things going on with you, and you just have to figure it out. You got to figure it out. And they have to understand, like, when you feel your normalcy changing, when you feel like you don't feel like getting out of bed, when you feel like you just want to sleep all day, when you feel like you're agitated and everything is irritating you continuously, you're going into a low.
Right.
That's not normal, healthy feelings, normal, healthy emotions. You're going into a low.
And that's a bad low.
Yeah, that's a bad low. And you got you're going to have like little symptoms coming. You got to know how to identify those symptoms. And those are things why you have to have therapeutic techniques and have to have someone to talk to so they can teach you about those lows.
What is the advanced stuff you think that you haven't teach yet or talked about yet?
You say, let me repeat it again, advanced things?
Yes, like you think that if you incorporated it in your life or in other women's life, it will be great, but you haven't started that, maybe because you are putting it behind, like not experimenting it. Like that, you want to share with us?
Yes, I do. I truly believe, and I keep telling myself I need to do this.
Yeah.
Where I literally take the time to just meditate and sit in my stuff. I keep saying I need to do that because it's empowering. You know, when I say sit in your stuff, if you accomplish something, celebrate it. Sit in it and celebrate it. If you're going through something, you're challenging it, you challenge yourself, or how can I do this better? What can I do? Those things, I need to do that more within myself, because we bypass those moments. You get that promotion, we're like, hey, and we keep going. But no, that is an accomplishment within self, especially if you've been through different things. So I got to learn how to celebrate myself more, acknowledge what I'm going, where I'm going, what I've been through, and how I'm going to get to the next step. That's something I really need to start doing. I want to do that.
Wow, that's good. So any last view you want to share with us?
Yes, I do truly believe that if you do feel that you're going through a low, reach out to someone. You need to have a safety plan. We all know if we depressed. We know if we anxiety. We might don't know the intensity of it, but we know. Get a safety plan. If you're feeling like that on your safety plan, please have 3 names, 3 priority names that mean the world to you, that you know that you can go out and call them when you're getting real low. And make sure you have numbers and everything written on those pages. So there's no excuse for you not getting to it. You can turn to that book, look in the notes in your phone, whatever it takes. I just want you to have a safety plan, because life is amazing and you are purposely meant to be here to enjoy what life has given us, and you need help. And we just have to acknowledge, as a woman, it is okay to reach out for help.
Right. Keisha, you gave us so many steps to deal with depression and anxiety. Can you share how can we find you, or how can I get this book?
Absolutely. My book is on Amazon, and it's called Being a Victim by Just Being Me. I have a website, it's VKLONON.com. So it's VK and my last name Lonon, VKLonon.com. And it has ways of you can get in contact with me, with my email address, and ways that we can kind of communicate. My book is on there. And it's just like a lot of women, after reading my book, was looking for someone to give them a life coach. And so I have that as well, where I'll do like once a month. It started growing, and I had to slow it down, especially with this pandemic. But it's just the life coach is just giving you strategic ways of planning your life with all the different roles you have going on in your life, and how to find your peace to be the best you.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us, and we learned a lot about anxiety and depression. Thank you. Thank you, Lonon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.